Hi there. Welcome to week 11 of the Epidemiology of Substance Use Disorders. This week we're going to take an excursion into some new methodological approaches to studying substance abuse, using natural experiments and controlled community trials as investigative techniques that provide an alternative to the randomized clinical trial. As you know, the RTC is often considered to be the gold standard in estimating causal effects from epidemiological research. But many exposures, particularly in substance abuse, are things that can't be manipulated or controlled by an experimenter. There are things like increased availability of alcohol that comes with a change in pricing or new advertising approaches, or a new illegal drug that comes on the market that spreads very rapidly. Experimenters can't control these exposures, but they can study them in a highly controlled, sophisticated manner with natural experiments. This week we're going to talk about not only natural experiments, but another way of dealing with substance abuse problems, which is studying interventions that are planned but not necessarily evaluated through a randomized clinical trial. First, natural experiments. These are perfectly suited to the work of an epidemiologist in that they provide a way of investigating life-threatening types of exposures at a population level. Natural experiments are merely changes that are created by circumstances outside the control of the investigator, such as changes in alcohol policy, natural disasters, which may lead to increased or decreased consumption of alcohol and other drugs because of stress or other things, and new illegal drugs flooding the market. Recognizing the potential value of a natural experiment requires that the epidemiologist have knowledge about how an exposure can influence behavior at the individual and the population level. And often it borrows from theory in order to assemble the measurements that are necessary to monitor the effects of exposures that have taken place. This week we provide several examples from your readings, including a fascinating study of what happens in Finland when the price of alcohol was dramatically reduced, and what also happened in Finland when the breweries went on strike and the alcohol market suddenly dried up. The second alternative to the randomized clinical trial is what is called the controlled community trial. These studies can take different forms, but they often involve interventions in a community that are dictated by a particular risk factor, such as exposure to alcohol or drugs. Unlike natural experiments, the intervention is sometimes under the control of the investigator, but the unit of analysis is often at a group level, like a classroom or a community, and the investigator does not randomize the groups necessarily to experimental or control conditions. As you will see in your readings and in this week's lectures, this kind of observational research is often directed at upstream causes of disease and upstream remediation factors that can combat disease as interventions in order to address the causes. So let's move on to our readings and our lecture.